the Four Horsemen means.
What's up, you pencil neck geeks? Welcome to the world-famous Comedy Store. This is the Store Horsemen podcast. This is your boy, the Darkitect, speaking. To my left, the Woken Matt Edgar. What's up, man?
Just hanging out, ready to hang out with my friends, talk some wrestling.
And your favorite Jeff Hardy shirt? Is that your favorite Jeff Hardy shirt?
Of the new ones.
Of the new.
I had Team Extreme back in the day that I would say is my favorite.
I got it. To his left, of course, the Golden Pony, Tony Hinchcliffe, ladies and gentlemen.
Ooh-wee. That's right. Here we are. Let's talk about it.
Absolutely.
Before I go to Calgary tomorrow, the home of the Hart family.
Absolutely. Someone who spent some time in dungeons, the Enforcer Johnny Scortis. What's up, bud?
Yeah, baby. How you doing?
I'm outstanding. I'm feeling good.
I like
Feeling
it.
good. All the way at the end there, the evil genius Eddie Firth in the building.
I could not be more excited to be attending my very first Royal Rumble.
This is
ever.
your first?
This is the very first live Royal
Holy
Rumble.
shit.
Yeah, I cannot wait. I'm so happy to be going to this with you guys.
It's going to be over the top.
It's fucking. I mean, the idea that we're going to have Brock Lesnar coming out at number 1, already guaranteed. Like I'm so psyched.
There it is. And Jabroni Josh Martin behind the glass there. What's up, man?
Oh, hey, guys.
What's up?
I'm excited for Rumble,
Yeah?
and we actually had a good Monday Night Raw.
I love how collectively as a group we all said we're excited, but nothing about the tones of our voices sounded. Yeah, so excited to go to the Rumble.
Terribly ecstatic.
Yeah,
about
it's going to
the
be.
situation.
We sound like we do 90s sitcoms thing.
There's a very NPR sort of excitement.
I think it's the time of day that we do this.
Yeah, it's pretty late.
It's late. It's not nighttime. It's like right before nighttime, so the day's done. You're just kind of.
Well,
It's like
We're here
Come
every
down,
night
goes
till
up.
1 a.m. It's not
Yeah,
that
yeah, I'm
like-
late.
better. I'm
that's-
better at 1 a.m.
Yeah, me too. It's like second shift. This
It's
is, this is nap time for me every other night of the
Yeah,
week.
exactly.
it's all discombobulating anyway. It's like we got a major pay-per-view. Some would consider, I mean, WWE tries to push SummerSlam as its number 2 pay-per-view. I'll never let go of the Rumble as the number
Since
2.
when?
Yeah, SummerSlam's bum.
They always call it the WrestleMania of the summer.
Yeah.
It's also the other reason being
They
that
do.
it's literally the halfway mark back to Summer, right? So if you're at WrestleMania, then 6 months later, quote unquote, you get SummerSlam, but not really. But it's that
Rumble's
halfway
been
mark. Yeah.
around a lot longer, or at
Absolutely.
I
least
guess
a
Survivor
few years
Series
longer.
is technically halfway, but yeah,
Survivor Series has been around, longer than the other, other than WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But
it's the stakes. It's
Yeah.
the stakes of the Rumble make it great no matter what. Because
Ironically-
no matter what.
yeah, considering it didn't start that way, I rewatched the first one, and it's like such a useless, useless
shit show.
pay-per-view. Yeah, it's like
Rumble?
the very first one, 1988, takes place in Canada. The biggest drawing thing is a contract signing for Andre and Hogan to have their rematch. It wasn't a pay-per-view. It was a USA Network like special that I think they did to fuck with a WCW event. And it is just like, what the like there's no I guess the original idea, according to Bruce Pritchard, is that you'd win like a cup, and it'd be like the Stanley Cup, and every year they'd put the winner of the Rumble's name on it or whatnot. But it was just kind of like, no,
It's
that's
also
stupid. They
great-
should have a real
It's
prize.
also a great idea.
How many
That's
times
also
can you
cool.
put Hillbilly Jim on?
Yeah. Well,
Let me
Hacksaw
guess
Jim Duggan won the first one.
that contract signing between Hogan and Andre just went completely smooth.
Yeah. Nothing went
Signed up.
left.
Cool.
No,
It's like
no
any other
violence
contract
broke
for-
out.
yeah.
Hogan was wearing one of the most homosexual outfits I've ever seen in my entire life. Just like sleeveless, like gray and white.
Was he, West Hollywood Hogan?
yeah, definitely one of the West Hollywood blondes with same colored cowboy boots and blue jeans, shirt tucked in. It was something special.
Part of the origin story of the Rumble that I love is that Patterson
Wanted
pitches
to see
it to
30
Mitch.
men all at once.
He pitches it to Vince. Vince is like, this is a terrible idea.
Yeah.
They try it out with like 12 guys at a house show. Vince is like, this is stupid.
Yeah, Pat's house.
Then they go
It's
to
just Pat's bedroom.
yeah.
And then they have a meeting with Dick Ebersol, and he's asking for TV ideas. And Vince is like, hey, Pat, why don't you pitch him that terrible idea of
Yeah,
yours?
yeah,
and
yeah.
instantly, Dick Ebersol's like, no, that's a great TV idea. Like, fuck anything else. That's why it's so much fun to watch, because as a TV show,
Yeah.
every 60 seconds, someone else joins the fray. Like, that's brilliant.
And
it is
anytime you-
constant.
Anytime you can
mystery.
get a regular like audience involvement in a wrestling match, there's something there.
Yeah.
Anytime you can put Dick and Pat Patterson together, you're going to get something special.
Pitching a tent.
Yeah, it's just like very easy, very easy. But yeah, I'm discombobulated because it's the go home week for a major pay-per-view, but we still got like a major show before the goddamn thing happens. Like, I'm used to Monday Raw, Tuesday SmackDown, pay-per-view on the weekend, but it's like Monday Raw, Wednesday NXT, and then I still got SmackDown basically 2 days before the fucking event.
Yeah, but I loved Thursday SmackDown, so.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Maybe we
and
just need to
tonight-
record a different
ESPN
day.
SmackDown.
I was trying to watch AEW tonight.
Yeah.
Because it's on the cruise ship, and I just got motion sickness from it.
Yeah, and they did a pre-tape on the Jericho cruise. We got new tag team champions in AEW. Kenny Omega and Hangman Page are now the AEW tag team champions, defeating SoCal Uncensored, which, I guess is good, but then goes back to the point a lot of people have been making. It's like, you got a guy like Kenny Omega and he's in the tag division. You know what I mean? Like, cool for the tag division, I guess, but for your product overall, don't you want that guy's first goal to be something else?
Especially when you have real tag teams.
Yeah,
They have a lot of good tag teams that they should be building up right now.
Yeah.
It does feel kind of opposite of Seth and Buddy Murphy winning the tag belts right now.
Right.
Like, that felt cool and significant and interesting and like a really good change of pace, especially because they had AOP in this little stable of theirs.
Yeah.
So for the two of them to get it felt good.
Plus, it was a culmination. It was what we've been asking for from WWE for years. Like, oh, you've built up a thing. All right, here's a payoff for it. It's like Buddy joins the Monday Night Messiah stable, and then instantly the next week it pays off for him because Seth's curb stomp is what gets him the win, and then he gets his first title. Well, his second title if you count the cruiserweight title, which none of us do.
So first time.
Yeah. So, and now he's a tag team champion instantly with Seth Rollins, the leader of the stable. So it's like there's a progression there. Now you see, there was a reason he joined this stable. It wasn't just, and now he's a part of a thing, and we're not going to do anything with it.
It seals him in.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought that was a good decision. It's like they're kind of stirring like dissension between Page and Omega, but it's like, I don't give a fuck about that. You know what I mean?
I would have been interested in watching this cruise ship thing if they had just ripped off and done the Royal Rumble, but you tossed them over the side of the
Into
boat.
the water.
And it would have been called the Royal Caribbean Rumble. That was for you, buddy.
Yeah, they got a lot of people in Hawaiian shirts.
Oh man.
I wonder if Omega's like, man, whoever books this sucks.
Yeah.
I went back in New Japan where I was a star.
What's so interesting?
It's gonna be great balls of water.
What's interesting you say that
Funny in the tank.
because I guess the dirt sheets are talking about how it seems that Omega has been a little disenfranchised, I guess, with I guess some of the creative with AEW. Well, I guess he's losing some of his power backstage apparently because he wants to spend his time kind of like in the women's division. He's been showing up in there a lot, like helping out Rio and being really vocal about who they sign and that kind of thing. And like you said, he was doing this whole storyline where he wasn't the best wrestler in the world anymore, and that didn't really get over with the fans.
That, to me, when they stopped that, I kind of stopped watching.
Yeah, and so
that was it was gonna be my favorite storyline in wrestling right now.
Maybe.
Yeah, because I love that. Like the guy, he can't get a win, he's losing to everybody.
Right.
And then then the big, then eventually there'll be the redemption match.
Sure.
I felt like the thing they really dropped the ball with him on that was if you were starting a new company and you could get the top draft pick, it should have been all about that. Like,
yes,
right? If you were starting a new basketball league and you could get Steph Curry or LeBron, then you wouldn't present them as, they can't win. You would be like, this is the hot one. This is the person we wanted. That everyone, they could have built a 6-week storyline of just trying to get him to sign the contract.
Absolutely.
It's like, AEW will end. New Japan wants me. WWE wants me. Everyone wants me. And then I come in, and he should have been. Right, like you want to push that right away.
Has Dean Ambrose had an iconic clean win or clean loss in AEW? Like something that really stands out to you, like, you lost to, you know what I mean?
He might be undefeated in it. Oh, did he lose to Pac?
I can't remember.
Are you guessing or do you remember something?
I don't remember seeing
Clearly
him
it's not
lose
memorable.
in AEW.
And my point is, obviously, that doesn't help. You want the rest of your lineup to show strength. If you want to show that you're competing, because we saw him get smashed by everybody in the WWE.
Right. He lost to EC3 for God's sakes.
Mhm.
So that's another mistake that they made. Not only did they get a guy like Omega and not show off his extreme, clearly best talent,
Yeah.
but they take a guy who, and we like Dean, but he's the only guy coming straight from WWE that took a bunch of losses in WWE, and they have him smashing people in AEW. It's
Well, when
They should have treated it like Conor McGregor signed with a different MMA
Right.
group, and it's like, oh my God, we're gonna bring this. That would have been hype. You
Yeah.
know?
right.
I mean, his initial brawl with Omega after All Out, you were
Yeah.
like, "Oh fuck, this is gonna be a thing." Then the payoff was he beats Omega on a not in a non-sanctioned match, so it doesn't even go to either
Yeah.
of their records, and it was just a big waste. You know what I mean? There was no stakes at all.
And the entire problem with the record is now the record's reset
every
each
year. Yeah.
So what was the point of having those records for the first couple months of Dynamite?
I agree. The only argument in favor of that is now you're treating it a little bit more like a sports season, right? Like if the Los Angeles Lakers go, 50, if they win 50% of their games this year, then next season they get to come back, and instead of building off of that record, they start brand new.
It's
just a different take.
Then why not reset it after their version of WrestleMania, which is All Out?
I totally agree.
You can have it
totally
reset
agree.
after that, and then it's reset.
This goes back. We talked with Moxley, and one of the things he said is that a lot of their creative, especially at that point, and who knows how it's changed now, was done via text.
Yeah.
And you kind of bring your own ideas, which can really help in certain aspects, in certain atmospheres. But when you're doing the weekly TV show, building to bigger stuff, that system may just need to change a little or grow or develop, and they're finding that footing. Because when Omega, if we hear that Omega is not pleased with the creative, and we know that it's sort of loose like that, I can understand how things can get, fall through the
Do you
cracks.
guys see a little bit of when AEW started? I had said that they're going to go as far as Jericho takes them.
Mm-hmm.
I also remember reading Jericho's book and him saying if you want to succeed in this industry, you have to be a little bit of an asshole.
Yeah.
Do you think he's kind of being a little Hogan-esque now around these guys, and they're afraid to get in his face? Omega seems like a nice guy, but I don't think he's going to walk into Jericho's office and be like, "Hey, fucker, we're going to fucking wrestle."
Well,
I'm
that's
gonna take that belt.
That's just it. It's like, if you believe the dirt sheet story, it goes that after, especially the Dark Order sort of, when they did that ending where the Dark Order beat up the Elite, and the fans were just like, "This is god awful, and this should not happen." That I guess Tony Khan took a way more active approach into creative when before he was more hands-on, and so that's kind of what's got Omega in a little bit of a tizzy because he doesn't have as much influence anymore. And it's almost like, Jim Cornette said it on his podcast, and I sort of agree with him. When he was in New Japan, where he had to take direction from Gato, and he looked like the best thing there ever was. Now, being left to his own devices, he's not nearly as hot as a wrestler as he once was. You know what I mean? When he was coming on that free agency after Wrestle Kingdom, we talked about it on this pod, did we not, Tony, after those Okada matches? This fucking guy has to go to WWE. He's going to change everything, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. He's definitely not that guy anymore. So, I don't know. Maybe it's that old adage about artists kind of needing that direction from somebody who's not them. You know what I mean? Because you probably have the best intentions in the world, but a lot of artists think that no matter what they do, they can make it good, but it may not necessarily be the best thing for them.
Yeah, it gets convoluted.
Yeah.
And this is the problem with AEW. I feel like everything is just all over the place because you have too many people giving opinions on what should happen, instead of just one person hey, and like Vince does, this is what we're doing. I don't give a fuck if you like it or not, but it has structure and formatted so people give a fuck and know what the fuck's going on.
Who would have guessed that we would have come to this? That we're 2 amazing Monday Night Raws in a row, and here we are talking about the inevitable, slow, dripping failure of AEW.
While they're on a boat, no less.
We just had someone on this show say what they need is one man in charge. Vince, We love you, my
it
friend.
just needs to not be Vince.
Yeah,
Triple H.
Vince, you did it, buddy.
it should be someone.
Yeah, because Vince McMahon isn't doing too well right now, Josh.
It should be like
AEW now is like WCW when it ended.
no. Everyone who talks about Jericho talks
Yeah.
how WCW never knew who was in charge. You didn't know who to go to. Do you go to Bischoff? Do you go to fucking Dusty? Who do you talk to? You didn't know who had the actual book, who had the actual stroke. Sometimes you talk to fucking Nash and he's telling you what to do. Sometimes you don't know. And the advantage of WWE has always been Vince McMahon
It's the final
is
cut.
the end all be all. So that's never in question. But sometimes that can go south.
And like Johnny just said, AEW depends on Jericho, but it will also fall because of fucking Jericho. Because if they don't develop anyone else and really create storylines and stuff you give a fuck about, Jericho cannot carry the fucking program.
Yeah, the best thing about Jericho is how he worked with other people. Like all his stuff with Owens, all his stuff, against The Rock when they were cutting those promos. Like he works better when there's someone who can, throw the shit back in his face.
He's doing a great
But
job.
He's doing great.
Yeah,
but there's nobody.
He's elevated Sammy Guevara. He's working with the Jurassic Express right now. He's got those dudes getting crazy cheers.
There's nobody on that roster who can touch Jericho right
No,
now.
for sure.
And that I think is a.
To me, it reads. It's just, and I mean this with respect to everybody involved, but like he's completely outclassing everybody. This is somebody who's experienced. You cannot fake time on the bar. And what this feels like to me is a comedian or an actor who comes to L.A. or goes to New York and then for some reason takes a trip home or goes somewhere else.
Yeah.
And is like, why don't you guys get it? Like, how do you not get what we're doing here?
Get
like,
it,
when
man.
just get up to. They're just they're just not on his level. Not because they're not good or they haven't tried. It's his level of experience is 10 WrestleManias deep. It's working with Vince McMahon. It's having to deal with John Cena and Triple H and everybody great around you and The Rock and Stone Cold. And how do you find
Matt
your
Edgar.
place? And how do you,
Well,
if you have to find a place with The Rock, you're going to learn really fast. And none of those other guys ever had to find their place with somebody
And
like
you got
that.
to think how seasoned Jericho was
Yeah.
before he even stepped into the WWE. He participated in those Super J Cups in the mid-'90s in Japan where he wrestled Benoit and Guerrero and all these dudes in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He was in Mexico before that as a luchador. He was in fucking Smoky Mountain Wrestling tagging with Lance Storm.
The dungeon.
You know what I mean? He got trained by the Hart brothers, you know what I mean? And he's like, he was the fucking man. And now, there's a story that came out months ago where he lost his mind in a meeting and was just like telling the Lucha Brothers, you guys have to fucking tag. You got to use the tag ropes when you're in matches. Like, there's no tension to be built up if you can just come in whenever the fuck you want to. Like, the parameters of a wrestling match, the quote unquote rules are there to build up certain things. Like, if it's just a free for all, you can't get things over. You know what I mean? And it's like,
Okay.
give that guy the book. Give Jericho the book.
And when he was also known for saying that when he got to WWE, he realized he didn't really even know how to wrestle what he calls the main event style,
yeah.
right? He doesn't call it a WWE style. Like, I love his reference to because I didn't really even know what bumping and feeding was, right? Like feeding the comeback and and that idea to me absolutely has to translate to other people. And yes, the main event style can be very boring, but on the other side of it can be done so incredibly well, and that's something even he had to learn in that moment, and admits to not knowing it when he got there.
And
I
that's
never-
the- I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I never would have thought that with the rise of the indies become, even getting television with AEW and Impact doing as good as it is. I never thought all of this would make me appreciate WWE more.
Well,
Like that style where like the storytelling does matter. You can't. Was it Jerry Lawler that says that the hip
Indie
slap-
kicks,
the
indie
indie
kicks.
It's like
Oh.
that's the fatal blow.
Yeah.
You get that's the knockout blow.
Right.
Now you got that. That's just the sound feed that you
Yep.
hear.
Mm-hmm.
5 of them a match.
Totally.
And it took
It's
me
like used
until,
like a jab now.
it took me until 2 or 3 years ago to finally, and I legitimately finally see The Rock slapping his leg on his punches. It was legitimately 2 years ago where I caught him do it once, and I was like, wait, he's been doing that this whole time? He slaps his thigh, and it's like, it's seamless because he's still that good, but you can't slap the leg when you're kicking a guy in the chest and not hide it. Same way as I never saw Sean slap his leg until 6 years ago. You know what I mean? Like little things like that. But you're right. Those indie kicks are.
But then when Sean does it, that's his finishing move. The super kick matters.
And you can't. And honestly, you
He'd
don't
also
see
connect
it in the
with that
way.
motherfucker a lot too.
Yeah, and you don't see it
when
in the
he
same
put down
way.
Ric Flair, he kicked him in the fucking open teeth.
Well, you know, Rick.
Luckily,
wanted
those
that
luckily
punk
those
kick,
weren't
yeah.
his real teeth.
Yeah.
Oh, man. that
Sorry, I
match
love
to this
you.
day makes me tear up at the end of
Yeah.
it.
I love you. Have you
It's
seen
a
it with the
beautiful match.
Titanic music playing in the
Yeah.
background?
But no, I mean, it's absolutely right. It's, it's something that a lot of these old schoolers have said. It's just like the more you escalate and the more it becomes about the moves and not the selling, you don't give yourself anywhere to go, and then even fucking Enzo talking about it, when we're putting together Storecade of like, this is what needs to happen in the preliminary matches so that the main event means more, and you got to give them more in the main event. You can't be doing all this crazy shit in the lead up. And that's, because look, you watch old Hogan matches, he's selling the whole time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the most electrifying match on the card, and he does not need to do a whole bunch of moves and shit like that. But, it's that style that's what gets the people.
It's
You know what
great
I mean?
live. You know what I mean?
yeah.
On TV, it's whatever. It's like the same difference between like an actor on TV and in movies.
Yeah.
On TV, you can get away with a lot of fucking bullshit, but when your face is on a fucking screen that big, every single thing that you do makes you look different.
Yeah.
So like they had a problem with fucking Bruce Willis in Die Hard because they said all his smarmy bullshit when he was on TV made him look like a dick on the big screen.
Right.
So he had to switch it up, and they were like, hey, trying to be less dicky.
Totally.
And
Yeah, and that's why I'm always praising the fucking John Cena all the time. That's the reason they call him Big Match John. He is the master of that main event style. You fought it. You saw that AJ Styles John Cena match in person. Your ass was hanging on every move that happened.
I didn't
But
like
that's another reason why it makes no sense to not have Kenny Omega in like a main title picture.
Yeah.
Because he's the guy who has main event level talent, and he understands being in a main event of fucking Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah.
You know, he has that ability, and because all these other guys are just indie guys who have like maybe early matches in Wrestle Kingdoms and nothing major,
Yeah.
and they don't know how to do like that main event match. Like everything's on you. That's why Cody's great, because he's able to tell a story throughout the match.
Yeah, certainly.
They only have Jericho, Kenny, and Cody
Mm-hmm.
who can do main event type matches.
Sure. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
And like two of them is nowhere in the picture.
Yeah.
Because they already boxed out Cody at the very fucking paper.
This Cody MJF feud though is great.
You know what,
It's so
Johnny
good.
nailed it though. That quick, spotty style is pretty fucking great in the room, especially like a little room. Like that's how the PWG is what introduced that whole world to me. And like I remember the first match I ever saw in PWG is a lot of the knee slap, and a lot of the reverse Hurricane Rana is brutal. Should be a finisher, but you're seeing like all these indie moves, and it's like fun and exciting to get a show
Really
kicked
exciting.
off. But when I would watch like a Wrestle Kingdom, because they kind of ride that line, you know what I mean? Sometimes just like, well, that guy, it's just hard to go. It's unbelievable that somebody would kick out of a question mark kick, you know, with that loud pop in the face. I've seen that end monsters in MMA.
Yeah.
So like now this guy's just like wobbly off of it and
Or
ends
like
up winning the
fucking
match.
Canadian Destroyer. That should be
Oh, yeah.
it. That should be it. You should never take that kind of move and then kick out. It's
Yeah.
just like you just got flipped
that
completely
move's been-
upside
no.
down and
That's
dropped on the top of your head.
That's the indie equivalent of a DDT.
Yeah,
that move
yeah.
is everywhere.
Sure.
The only
they
way
jobbed that one out.
The only way you could kick out of that move is if someone took an infinite CBD
Yeah, absolutely.
droplet and dropped it underneath your tongue.
That's right.
Because it is phenomenal. I did it today at work.
Yeah.
Rest of my day was amazing.
If you're gonna get choke slammed, choke down some infinite CBD.
That's
first.
right.
That's right.
won't feel a damn
absolutely.
thing.
InfiniteCBD.com.
What do you think Hogan was using back in the day?
Steroids.
It goes
White steroids.
I said this at the time of the event. I think we talked about it on the podcast. But at Infinite CBD Presents Storecade, I can tell you almost everything that happened in the Joey Ryan Priscilla Kelly match.
Yeah.
athletically, that main event between Darby Allin and Matt Sydal and the Lucha Brothers was far more spectacular on the grand scale, but I can't tell you anything that actually happened, especially after I got hit in the head with a Ridge wallet.
Somebody's
and
beard
I
got
got
That's
knocked out.
why
That's what happened
you got
in that
concussed.
But no, but that's to me, it's that's why, you know, we were upstairs. Johnny and I were upstairs, and Guam asked us who our favorite wrestlers of all time were, and I was like, first, you just have to put Hogan up there, even if I don't qualify him as the one. Like, but Hogan's why I'm here. Hogan's why I got into it. I'll always love him, but I always say it. He's like an untouchable number one. He's obviously my favorite, but if we're really talking about it, it's Shawn Michaels because he's telling that story. He's making everything matter. He's got the athleticism and the storytelling in a way that I don't think anybody else ever really captured.
The coolest thing I've ever heard anyone say about Shawn Michaels was Jim Ross, and he said he's never seen Shawn Michaels botch anything. Even if it was some shit that happened that wasn't supposed to, you'd never know it in a Shawn Michaels
You ever
match.
hear the story Triple H tells where he came off, he did the elbow drop, and he goes, "Hey, Shawn, since when do you do it with the left elbow?" And he goes, "Did I do it with the left elbow?" Because yeah, you did it with your off arm on this time. He goes, "Oh, I don't know. I don't know." He dropped an elbow with the other side of his body. Like, he's right-handed. He drops a right-armed elbow every time in one match.
Does it matter which way they're laying?
I don't know. Ask Shawn.
I saw Sean botch
Because
something.
apparently Shawn didn't know. He was just like, that's how I hit him today.
Yeah.
It wasn't in the ring, but remember that intro where he's doing his thing and he had the chain, like the accessories, and it got caught in the grid and he gets stuck.
Oh,
and
yeah,
he
yeah,
can't
yeah,
knock
yeah.
it out. He has to almost take off his pants just to get it.
I remember when he yelled for Vader to get his fat ass up. Move! That's just a fucking great moment.
That
Oh.
shows, and yet Vader, who could absolutely kill him, was still like he retreated ultimately, right?
Yeah.
Big Vader could have confronted him in any form or fashion. He's like, "You're right, I'm a piece of shit."
And like on our bonus episode with Raven, even Raven said like no one sells anymore,
Yeah.
and that's the issue with AEW is that it gets to the point where you have to sell these fucking moves,
Yeah.
or they don't mean shit.
Well, that's why
Did
Jungle
you just
Boy's
did you
getting
just
over.
quote the Raven?
Hilarious.
Nevermore.
Well, that's why Jungle Boy gets over, because he's undersized. His offense, is not super believable because of his size, so he has to spend most of the time selling. He's the Ricky Morton. He's the babyface in peril always for the hot tag to Luchasaurus, and it just fucking works.
I'm sorry. This is another reason why Jeff Hardy is as great as he is. Is because he's not a good fighter. The whole point was he wasn't a technical wrestler. He'd throw his body at you.
Yeah.
He'd sacrifice his body in offense.
Right.
But that's not like a good enough style to like win a fight. So most of the time he's getting his ass beat and he looks
Well,
beautiful.
he has that quality where it's just like, because of his size, it's easy for you to get heat on the heel that's beating him up.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Jeff is not a small guy though.
He's not. He's not a big guy.
He's definitely
I
not
think
a
he's
sober
I
guy.
think he's
Like
I
the
think
biggest dirt biker I've
Yeah.
ever seen.
Yeah, okay, but look
Chris,
at in
do
that
not
era,
insult
that
Jeff in front of Matt.
attitude era, he may have not seemed like the biggest guy,
Yeah.
but now you watch him with the wrestlers now that are a lot. He towers over all.
Oh,
of
sure.
them.
Well, they used to think Shawn Michaels was a smaller guy, and then you see Shawn
see him
now.
as,
It's
like,
like,
bigger.
oh, he's way bigger than, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Most of those dudes in NXT, that's for sure.
Shawn Michaels doesn't even know what he's looking at.
Yeah, that's right.
Two different things.
I mean, I remember we were hanging out with Darby Allin in the back, and I'm looking at him like, I can't believe you're a fucking
I can
wrestler.
kick this guy's
man.
ass.
Yeah.
He's looking at you like, I can't believe you're a comedian.
Coffin mic drop.
He just did an interview with Wrestling Observer Live, saying that he was courted by NXT, by WWE, and the reason he ultimately went to AEW is just because he knew he was going to get lost in the 205 Live
For sure.
shuffle.
Now he's one of the biggest stars in wrestling. Yeah. He's a smart guy, man.
He's getting there.
By the way, speaking of NXT, apparently NXT is interested in Jay White. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about that.
What?
Both of them are white.
Rose Battle Zone, Jay Light coming to.
Squints McMahon.
But NXT aired tonight too. They got the grizzled young veterans going up against the Broserweights in the Dusty Classic next week. They both advance tonight. The Broserweights probably my favorite new tag team. That's Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne. Just they work so well together and their styles mesh so much. I mean, they both knee the fuck out of you and put you in these crazy locks and shit. It just really
Yeah, but
works.
that's what I'm saying with the knees, man. Those are vicious. Riddle's
Yeah.
knees should end anyone in a fight.
Hey, man.
So I know that everybody assumes or hopes or thinks if Riddle goes against Goldberg at WrestleMania, what's the outcome? Because you want to beat
Riddle goes over.
Riddle?
Man. Riddle goes over.
He's the guy who takes out Goldberg after all this. That's a weird spot. You know what I mean? Like
I
that's
don't-
not a perfect.
I think Riddle gives him a hell of a fight and loses.
What makes you?
Gets caught at the-
You want it to be realistic?
What makes you think this is actually going to happen?
Well, because
There's been talk.
Riddle's been making fun of Goldberg on Twitter for a while
Sure.
now.
They set it up on
And
the
then
backstage thing they did.
filmed
the-
a segment of them coming face to face backstage.
Is that a work?
No. Well, yeah.
yes and no.
Yes
I
and
mean,
no.
why were the cameras
Look,
ready?
Goldberg.
Yeah, exactly.
Goldberg doesn't like many people to begin with,
Yeah.
but also wants to make plenty of money with them
Sure.
all. And the cameras just happen to be there to catch this thing. I feel like that was one of those Los Angeles Lakers versus Sacramento Kings thing, where it's like, look, we're gonna keep it close, and then the ball's gonna fall where it is.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we're gonna put them in the same room, and they're a little testy with each other
Yeah.
because there's real ego involved. Because Matt Riddle did. I'm assuming what Matt Riddle did when he was tweeting that day was a complete shoot. There was There's
Yeah,
no
yeah.
one who told him to insult
Yeah,
Goldberg in the
he's
middle of the
bullying,
match.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, though. Goldberg's got to sit there and be like, "This kid will work me." I mean,
No, they
it's a
both want the
legitimate
money.
No, I'm saying if this is actually a shoot, there is some shoot in it. It had to have crossed Goldberg's mind at least one point. Like, if this gets out of hand, it might temper. I mean, Goldberg's attacked people in the back before, so if he tries to do that to Riddle, I mean,
don't think that
Goldberg
ever
should
happened.
know.
I think it's more that they have tension and they're ready to work in the ring.
Yeah.
And that's a sacred ground. As I forget who I was saying it to the other day, but like we were talking about working with people that you don't like.
Yeah.
And that in pro wrestling, many people get in the ring who don't like each other. And Shawn and Brett, Rock and Cena, nobody ever
Matt
worried.
Hardy and
I was just gonna say, isn't that
Jesus.
weird?
Yeah.
How Matt Hardy had to make sure Edge doesn't hurt his shoulder when
Right,
he throws
right,
him down,
right,
like-
right.
But like there's never
killed
any
him.
fear in there. Like you never hear Brett and Shawn say, "Well, I thought he might hurt me in the ring." They were like, "No, once you get in there,
Yeah.
it's protect each other at all costs."
Yeah.
That's the one place you never
Right.
would. So that's what. So Tony, to your point, like there's been a lot of discussion about it, and outside of giving Goldberg a tomato can to crush at WrestleMania, that actually has some intrigue behind it, and you have the disparity of Matt Riddle being probably better outright, but much smaller than Goldberg.
Has there been
is.
any mention of it other than on backstage?
It wasn't on backstage.
Not the
it
show
was
backstage,
It was on
yeah.
one of the documentaries they did.
Yeah.
Stuff
Because
like
literally
that.
during one of the pay-per-views, Riddle was doing because you know how they do that watch-along thing now, where some of the superstars watch the pay-per-view if
On
they're
the
not
network.
booked. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Riddle they're there in the arena doing that, and it was one where Goldberg I think was wrestling, and then when he came backstage, Riddle was standing there, and they had a face-to-face thing, and the cameras caught it.
He's like, "I'm not your bro."
Yeah.
All right, bro. Don't call me bro.
It's such
Yeah,
an
yeah,
old
yeah.
man versus young. It's like
Totally.
the
The
neighbor.
assumption, Tony, would be that Goldberg's going to show up in the Rumble, and this is where they start the
Right.
setup. That's what a lot of people are anticipating.
Yeah.
And if it's not Matt Riddle, because there's a lot of talk that Goldberg will be at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
That's the other side of it. Is the reports are he's going to have something, and why not? If you give him 60 seconds with somebody,
Yeah.
it
And
can
the
work.
Brock Lesnar thing heightens it because Riddle has also been vocal about wanting to be the guy to retire Lesnar. So you can set up a thing where it's like Goldberg is the reason Riddle can't eliminate Lesnar or some shit. You know what I mean? In this, and then that creates the thing. But there's a lot of intrigue. I would not be surprised if that's what we get for sure.
Is there anything else you got? Because there's one. I haven't heard anything. This is my own. I think what I would like to see at WrestleMania this year, if you were going to set up at the Rumble, is King Corbin eliminates a returning Undertaker out of the Rumble, and you get Corbin and Undertaker at WrestleMania.
Really?
Look.
Even
Corbin,
Johnny Manface.
Corbin has done more with less than anybody else in the last year. He's taken the King gimmick. He got
lost
the
his
rub
hair.
from getting getting his ass kicked by The Rock. Who's the other? He had somebody else. Kurt Angle. He retired Kurt Angle last year. He can lose to The Undertaker at WrestleMania and still come out better for it. And I think it's that perfect, like,
you make it sound like everybody loved all that stuff.
Yeah,
You're not supposed to love it. He's a heel.
He's
no,
a
but
heel,
it wasn't
and
even entertaining. It wasn't
you're giving
fun...
The Undertaker a win over Corbin, and it's not going to hurt Corbin. I think it's a perfect spot to get The Undertaker there, or the rub on Corbin, and a really entertaining couple of minutes out of them, because you're not going to get something long, but then you get his character talking shit about The Undertaker for a few weeks and then getting his ass handed to him in 4 minutes is like a great, and then he comes back the next night, it doesn't matter, I'm the king. You know what I mean? It's just this. That's why I look at it as like, you get, and if Corbin is the one to eliminate The Undertaker, it looks like he's got something over on him. So it starts that wave that crests at WrestleMania with him getting beat. That's the one I would, if I were in the writer's room with Vince, I'd be pitching that every week. Like, is Taker going to be around? Because if so, man, you could do business with Corbin. You're going to, the costumes look great, the sound, the move, everything would be fun. I think that's a move.
And he's a good enough athlete to do the match well.
To move around and bump for Taker and move for Taker, and it gives Taker a nice day at WrestleMania. That's a good match I'd love to see. Go ahead. Wait, from King Corbin's court. What do you say, Johnny?
As the noble lord of King Corbin's court, I fully agree with this.
Let's make that happen. Let's
someone get me my parchment paper. I'm going to draw this document right now.
Wonderful.
Yikes.
Quills and inks.
I'll let you guys have that one. If that's what you want. Have at it.
Do you guys think Cena's going to be there on Sunday? You think he's in the Rumble?
I hope so, because dear God, I mean, what a waste of him the last few his last official WrestleMania match was a tag team match with one of the Bellas versus Miz and Maurice. You know what I'm saying? Then was that abomination against The Undertaker where it's like, they've never faced each other. This could be a huge, money thing. And it's like, you advertise it as though The Undertaker might not even show up. Cena's being silly, drinking soda and eating popcorn the whole time, then takes an ass whooping for 20 seconds. Yeah. You know what I mean? Then it's like, okay, what the fuck? So now when you look back on, so what was the big marquee Cena Undertaker match? Oh, there wasn't one. There was just a weird angle they shot. Then after that, he comes out and raps, unadvertised, mind you, against Elias.
I don't know, man. This sounds like it all sucks.
That's what I'm saying. That's all they've done with him the last 3 years. He hasn't had an official match in fucking
it's not
3
like
years.
his movie career is doing any better. Hello?
I mean, what do you mean?
I think he's doing okay.
So a pretty big box office there.
Like
my
what?
guy.
He's building. This is his building phase.
The
this
Fireman
is where
movie?
You know that he's going to be in the Equalizer 3. They just announced
That's
it.
right.
No. Queen Latifah is the
security
Equalizer
guard.
on TV.
Really?
Yep.
There's a scene where Denzel Washington's like, you're way better than the last security guard.
Way more abs.
That fucking lug.
I think
had to carry him the whole movie.
I'll go nuts when his music is played, and I think at WrestleMania you could plug him into almost any. You could plug him into either of the two title matches. I think he's him losing to the Fiend is great.
I thought about that today when I was like, maybe it shouldn't be fucking Roman Reigns. Like, if you want to do, superhero versus the Fiend, who's a bigger superhero than fucking John Cena?
And Cena can take that loss
And
easily,
be fine.
easily
and be
against
fine.
the Fiend.
Totally. Roman is just, it's too predictable. It's too what most people think in their head is what Vince McMahon wants. You know what I mean? And even if it's the right thing at times, I feel like if the audience feels like that's what Vince wants, they're just going to rebel.
What if
you know what I mean?
What if Fiend beats Roman?
But even still, it's just a
Then
repeat.
it was pointless.
Yeah, it's a repeat of what we keep seeing with Roman, where it seems like they change their mind rather than just go through with the win.
Isn't he like 2-6 at WrestleMania or something?
Roman?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like a weird stat.
But it's like,
because they want you to think they're going to give it to him, but they're not.
right.
There's
so
no way he beats the Fiend at WrestleMania. I've said it
Look,
1,000 times.
the toughest thing is if you don't put Roman in either of those title matches, who does he go against? Who's the next biggest?
Exactly. That's what made
Bobby
me think
Lashley?
the dirt sheet reports were true, because it was I thought about that exact same thing. Like, okay, so if he doesn't fight for the title at Mania, what's the Roman match?
He's already taken on maybe Goldberg. Spear versus that's
Maybe.
a one I'd watch.
Have they not done that?
No,
Oh,
they've
they haven't
confronted
done
each
that.
other in a
Yeah.
Rumble.
Yeah.
I feel like if they get back in the Rumble here and they square off and do something,
Yeah.
this is why I'm so excited for the Rumble. There are a
There
lot
are
of
a lot of options that could happen. And you know what? I'd even be excited if Wrestle Talk made a good scenario today where they made an argument for Kofi Kingston winning the Royal Rumble.
hell yeah.
Because how many times has he done this
Yeah.
crazy spot where
Yeah,
he
yeah.
doesn't get eliminated? Everyone's sort of been angry that he hasn't addressed losing the WWE title. He hasn't really mentioned it at all on TV, and he just got back with the New Day, and he's back to happy-go-lucky
Kofi-mania,
Kofi.
too.
And now it's like, oh, shit, what if he wins? You know what I mean? And now, everybody who supported him and felt like the title run got cut abruptly is going to be in his corner going up against, and he could still choose Lesnar or The Fiend. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I thought that's kind of compelling. You know what I mean? Especially because you can play off all that history of what he's done in the Rumble up to this point and never winning before.
Kofi eliminating Brock to win the Rumble
Big.
would be, and then him
Huge
saying,
moment.
Brock, I'm coming for you.
Huge moment.
That's a really big.
And at that point, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter who wins the Mania match.
Yeah, totally. He could still take a loss, and it would
yeah,
it'd be a huge
and he
look
could be,
for him.
because then if he has the match that we all know he could have with Brock, that AJ Bryan Finn Balor match, and then he loses, he's like, I'm still this close, and you can either do a rematch. There's a lot of ways to play off of it out of Mania
100%.
too.
And this is why Rumble is is our number one, because there's so much you can build from it.
Yeah.
Like even in the women's division, what if fucking Rousey shows up
Right.
during the fucking Rumble
Right.
again? Then you have Shayna Baszler maybe showing up.
Yeah.
Then you can actually do the 4 horsewomen.
Yeah, that one's a
Angle,
curious
you
one
know?
to me because they've barely promoted like the women's rumble at all going
mean,
into
who's
this
You know
year.
who I got
Bailey-
winning this?
Huh.
I'm going to show you how crazy my instincts are right now. In fact,
Joanna.
not only am I going to predict the winner of this, I'm going to guarantee
The women's.
the
Uh-oh.
women's
Uh-oh.
Royal Rumble winner
Matt
this
Ag-
year
Matt Ager?
goes by the name of Stephanie McMahon. I'm dead serious.
Really?
Watch it happen.
I wouldn't even be mad.
the
wouldn't
music's
even be
gonna hit.
mad.
I would be.
She's gonna compete.
So angry.
She's gonna
That's
have.
so insane.
Yep. She's gonna have a secret stable there that they're gonna protect her. Stephanie McMahon wins the women's Royal Rumble
Oh,
this
I
year.
love that.
I could see
idea.
it.
I think the smart money is probably Rousey or like Sasha Banks
Or
something
Shayna
like that.
Baszler.
Definitely Shayna Baszler. Smart money.
Want to hear a crazier one?
Sure.
The winner of the men's Royal Rumble, Shane McMahon.
I thought he was also going to say Stephanie
Stephanie
McMahon.
McMahon.
And who's he going to challenge? The WWE champion, Vince McMahon.
Or returning Nia Jax could win the women's rumble. She's just
She
been
could also win the men's.
She
Royal
could
Rumble.
definitely win the men's as well.
You win my Royal Rumble.
Ew.
But yeah, fucking exciting stuff can go down.
Your Royal
So,
Rumble.
you guys want to make picks?
Your Boyle Bumble.
Yeah, let's make picks.
Let's
this
do
is
it.
so tough.
Josh, you keeping track of this here?
Give me 1 second, and
You
I
got
can
it,
keep
you
track
got
for
it.
you.
The rest of the card is what I don't know who Bailey is really fighting this weekend or why we should care about that title at the moment.
Damn, I forgot all about that.
Yeah, they flipped
they
Lacey
really-
into a face, a baby face, which is what she should have been from the get go. You
But
got
isn't
Reigns
she,
versus
Isn't
Corbin.
she a bigger face now than she would have been because she was a heel?
Not really. They didn't really handle her that well when she was a bad guy. They put over her finisher, but she didn't have good matches with it.
I thought they rushed her.
Josh, you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So we got first of all, we got Andrade versus Humberto Carrillo for the United States Championship. That's probably going to be on a pre-show, but
Don't you have to rush heels though? Sort of.
I mean, I
'Cause it's
don't
like you
think she
want
was
them-
ready to come up from NXT, honestly.
That's what everybody says, but you act like there can't be superstars anymore.
Well, they
But
can.
she obviously wasn't.
Just because we're used
Not
to
that-
this minor league system doesn't mean we should watch everybody for a couple of years warm up or
but
whatever.
she didn't have any good matches. Is my thing. It's like
Yeah,
she
she
didn't
didn't-
even
she
have
didn't live
good-
up to
yeah.
it.
She was green in NXT, and then they brought her up because Vince
I think she has
Supposedly.
definite
Your
star
champ-
power, and she'd grow into that. But I just thought they
Well,
rushed
she's
her
got
a
all
bit.
the stuff, right? She's good looking. She's athletic.
Great behind-the-scenes story.
She's got a great behind, yes.
She's a star.
Look,
She's a star. I said this
Are we
the
talking
first
about
week
Mandy
she
Rose?
came out. Same thing
She
I said
is-
about The Fiend, his first thing out. When everybody's like, what do you think about this cartoony? I'm like, guys, this shit's going to be out of fucking control.
Lacey Evans.
Same thing with Lacey. She's a star.
Lacey Evans is on tour featuring for somebody just before she was ready and has to learn on the fly, which is what most people are having trouble with. But in that vein, she's going to learn that much faster and that
Right.
much harder. So 3 years from now, she's going to be so much more solid. It's
Right.
just some people are having difficulty watching the process, even though it's
I'm
clear
still
she's making
watching
strides.
Bailey's process, and they put a fucking belt around her waist. So
several times.
Jesus, is she bad?
Uh,
Every single match.
I will say I think Lacey's promos are more entertaining than Bailey's. I think
yeah.
Lacey on the mic, both as the heel and then as this weird in between face where she's trying to get it to work, is still she's definitely got it. She's gonna get there.
What woman other than Little Lady Leprechaun's better than Lacey at promos?
Wait, say that again.
Other than who's the hype train?
Oh, Becky Lynch.
Becky Lynch. Other than her.
Other than Becky and other than Charlotte and other
Sasha?
than
Right.
Asuka.
Charlotte doesn't count. Charlotte's
Asuka going off in Japanese is a lot of fun.
Man, did
Yeah.
they fuck her up? God damn.
You know who my surprise for the Women's Royal Rumble is? I think it's Lita, and I think Lita gets eliminated, and I think Lita wrestles Charlotte at WrestleMania. I think that's her Legends match.
could be a thing. I don't know. I know Andrade had a crazy match with Rey
We're talking about
Mysterio
Andrade. Yeah, I'd give that to Andrade.
on Raw and almost killed him with that ladder spot.
You see that?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
No, actually, I didn't watch the actual one that almost killed him.
It
I
was-
just saw them go through
Man,
the
was he
ladder.
trying to do a Hurricane Rana? He was hanging from where the belts are hanging, and I don't know if he slipped or tried to do a Hurricane Rana from that onto Andrade, who's on the ground, on the mat. And like Andrade, you can't really hold that. You can't really roll into that kind of momentum coming from that height. So he ended up just dropping him.
Yeah.
It looked like it just turned into a power bomb, basically.
Yeah. It was,
Higher than a ladder.
It was
and like
scary. It was
not even a
scary.
flat back, like on his shoulders.
Shit. Yeah.
Was
scary
I
for
the
sure.
only one who was shocked that when the
And
mask...
it hurt him because he bounced right back up on his feet. Like he should have been like he was kind of dazed.
I'm good. Was I the only one who was shocked that it was Humberto Carrillo and not Dominic under
Oh,
that
yeah, I
mask?
know,
I was
right?
like,
I
I was
know.
like, oh, Dominic came to say, oh no, never mind.
Here's a question: how many times is the 24/7 title going to change hands in the Royal Rumble? Like 28 times?
Too many.
Probably probably once during the Rumble. Is that what you mean? Like in
It's-
the actual match?
I think it's going to change hands many times in the actual Rumble match.
I'd say at least once, but
But anyway, so yeah, Andrade defending his United States title against Humberto Carrillo.
Yep.
There's no reason. Well, whatever. Johnny and Eddie are tied, I guess, as champion. Johnny, you go first.
I'm gonna go with Andrade, and I'm gonna text you guys the rest because I have to leave
Right on. Right on.
right now. Love you guys.
Go ahead, my brother. Go in peace.
I also take Andrade.
Yeah.
I think they have some legs in this. I think if the plan is to put the belt on Humberto, I don't think it's time.
Yeah. There's no reason.
Yeah, because I think you're going to see Andrade in whatever elimination chamber. He's going to be right on the fringe of the possible person to face the champion at WrestleMania. I think you just keep him strong for longer.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I'm going with Andrade. Anyone not going with Andrade?
Nope.
Josh?
Nope.
Okay. Bailey defending her SmackDown Women's title against Lacey Evans.
Jesus, can both
Yeah,
both of them
I'm
lose
about to
the
say,
title?
they both should
I'd
lose.
say just at this point, Lacey, because something's got to give with this belt if you want it to be exciting again. And
Well, they've hit a wall with. I mean, they started with a wall with the Bailey character. It's the Kenny Omega syndrome where it's we're talking about Kenny Omega. It's like you didn't spend any time telling us who Bailey is on the main roster, and so it never connected the way it did in NXT.
nah,
It was just always like,
the heel turn came too late. The fucking
well, it was the tell and not show. It was this underdog, but she beats Charlotte in her debut. You know what I mean? It's like what?
not an underdog.
Yeah, yeah.
I think Lacey Evans is going to win the match, but not the belt.
Yeah, I think
So
Lacey.
I think it's a DQ finish or a count out.
But
You know what?
that's-
I think it's a woman's right on the outside, and it's a count out finish. I don't think it's time to put the belt on Lacey Evans. Look, that's the other side of it. And the most intriguing story going into WrestleMania would probably be Bayley and Sasha anyway. So something going on there. I think Lacey Evans actually comes out with the victory, but not one where she wins the belt and not some sort of satisfying conclusion to anything. I think it's got to roll a little longer. So I don't think there's a title switch here.
Josh?
Also, you don't switch the title this close to fucking WrestleMania.
I mean, they do
you know?
all the time, though.
Yeah, there's an elimination chamber where she can win it back.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of shit.
Or she loses it a little closer. It could.
What do you think, Tony?
I'm gonna go with Lacey Evans on this.
Is she taking the title?
I think so. I don't see why not. I think it's an exciting move to give her her first championship belt, a big accomplishment at Royal Rumble. Let her cry a little bit now that she's a face. Everybody's on her side. It's a big win.
You got a few months to build it for Mania.
And then, Bayley is up and she attacks her, during this celebration, reinforcing that she's a heel and Lacey's a face. So everybody wins.
Maddie?
No, yeah.
You Lacey Evans?
Yes, she's going to win it.
I forgot about the wild card, which is that Sasha Banks is still somewhere in this equation of this feud, and for that reason, I think Bayley will still win.
I'm actually going to switch my pick to Bayley. I think Sasha helps her cheat to win now.
Yeah, because then you can build Lacey and Sasha, which is
and truly the other side of it is Bayley needs a win. She needs to look strong as champion going into whatever's coming next.
Yeah.
I'm also Bayley. You guys are morons for choosing against Bayley. She always fucking wins.
Now I want to switch back after Josh said that.
In the never-ending short joke,
The
Shorty
best
G,
match of the Royal Rumble.
really, Shorty
match.
G versus Sheamus, and the returning Sheamus. It's just one of those things where I'm gonna ask Eddie what he thinks first.
Sheamus?
Yeah, because you when you return, you can't. It's fallacy.
Not
to
gonna
have them
lose to-
yeah.
And there's no story. Look, you can lose if there's any story or any other thing. This is clearly a tune-up.
is gonna
Shorty
be-
G, you don't have a chance.
This is going to
It
be
is me, the guy that teaches me and
The Irish
what's her
Italian
fucking
Sheamus.
name? I keep
New
forgetting her
Irish
name.
guy. Who is this?
What's her name?
Becky Lynch.
Oh, the Becky Lynch and the Shorty G. I'm the WWE Irish accent.
That's a spicy
Even though
meatball and
nobody from
potatoes.
Ireland talks like this.
Yeah, this is. Yeah, man, it's every single feud now.
It's going to be
gonna
less than
just
10
be-
minutes. It's going to...
Yeah, it's gonna be a short match.
Hey,
I'm sorry, who do you guys have?
I got Sheamus.
Sheamus.
Yeah.
It would be dumb for Shorty G to win this one right now.
I mean, Irish. Something else could happen.
Because I mean, you can't burying the return. I mean, that's just a no-no
And look,
in pro wrestling.
we
Not
all-
that they haven't done it.
Shorty G better bring his lucky charms.
We all love Chad Gable, but also Sheamus could be a real contender in a major way. You set him up in something. If you want him to mean anything, he comes away looking really good off this. You have to.
Yeah. What do you think, Josh?
I got Sheamus as well.
All right.
What does Matt have?
Sheamus.
There you go. Roman Reigns versus King Corbin in a Falls Count Anywhere match. I think Roman Reigns definitely is going to win this match. Eddie?
Oh, Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns wins this.
See, I think this is where we get interference, and I am going to be bold and say that there must be a reason why it's a Falls Count Anywhere match. So I'm going to go with Baron Corbin, the King.
Maddie?
Yeah, that makes sense.
It does. But Roman, who won their last match? Didn't Corbin?
Corbin has dominated him throughout
Roman.
this feud.
So
Roman needs to put this to bed. Going into
gotta end it.
WrestleMania.
How many times have they wrestled?
2 or 4.
They've been like going at it for like
They do need to
2
end this.
months.
They need to end this. So yeah,
They've
I'm
had
gonna go-
multiple matches.
I'm
And
gonna go
Corbin
Roman.
doesn't need to win for it to end. Like Roman needs the finality to it.
Yeah, like they covered him in dog food and did the stupid dog.
All right,
soup
I think-
I'm
thing.
switching to.
I think the
switching
Falls
around.
Count Anywhere
going
allow
with
the
Roman.
Usos to make an appearance during it. I think there's going to be some
Yeah,
mayhem. I
yeah,
think
yeah.
Corbin's. I
yeah,
think
Ziggler
Ziggler
will
and,
show up. Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and the Usos will come out, which is cool. But I think Roman goes over, and I think if it were me, I would have it finish in the middle of the ring too. right? You have all that chaos going on around, but finally, middle of the ring, Superman punch, spear, 1, 2, 3.
In the feud.
And people have been loving Roman recently, so let him have a good moment. Let him get cheered on. Let him look like he actually beat somebody and it mattered and it meant something. And
Yep.
Hogan
Josh?
beat Boss Man, and we move on.
Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns.
Everyone Roman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, Matt said Corbin.
Oh, well,
You decided to copy Tony, and then Tony changed his pick, and now you're thinking about changing your pick?
well, it's not really copying Tony. It was more of the suggestion that Eddie gave about the Usos coming in. I think Roman.
It's Roman.
And don't talk to me about copying Tony.
Oh.
What's that?
Whoa. There's some unrest in the Dark Foundation.
Whoa! Wait, Josh is in the Dark Foundation?
Yeah, dude, that's your founding member right there.
Yeah.
I never see him in the meetings.
You guys calm down.
If you're gonna come at me, come and take this throne.
All
Don't
right.
come with that bullshit, okay?
It sounded
I will fuck you up.
Oh,
You were
shit.
gonna come
He's
and
gonna fuck you,
take
dude.
the throne.
I will fuck it, and you will like it.
I would do one of those moves where I hold your head back while you swing and miss me.
This is a fight I desperately actually would want to
I've
see
never
happen.
seen someone call an office depot chair a throne before.
Becky Lynch
Staples.
defends her WWE Raw Women's Championship against Asuka. I love it. Go ahead, Eddie. Actually, sorry.
Wasn't
is a
this the
tough
match
one.
last year
Yeah.
at the Royal Rumble?
Yeah.
Yeah, remember an Asuka beat her
Yeah.
last year.
That's dope.
Well, that's the whole storyline that Becky
yes,
can't
yeah.
beat Asuka. That's the whole storyline.
Great. What a great story.
And Becky has been like doubting herself. Like that, the whole thing's been like a self-doubt.
Oh,
Love it.
jeez.
This
So
is
gay.
this is probably the toughest one for me to pick.
Yeah.
Like this is one where like I could see all the finishes. I could see Becky finally vanquishing the dragon. I could also see Asuka beating her. You know what? No. Becky Lynch. The only reason I'm hesitating is because I think Becky walks away with the title. Because in truth, I don't think you keep this title on Becky Lynch this long to have her lose it right before WrestleMania.
Right. Unless they do a WWE and have her win it back at Elimination Chamber.
But that to me, it's so hot shotty. In the same way as like I
They
could
do.
see her losing and doing the same bullshit and getting into the Rumble and winning, but I don't like that either. I
Right.
won't like at this point. I'm going to pick Becky keeping the title just in the vein of that's what I would rather see. Because if you're going to do it this long, then have her go to WrestleMania and either lose or win for this whole year.
Yeah.
Right? She either walks out having lost after holding it for a year or winning after holding it for a year. And I think Becky and Ronda is the way to go because spoiler alert, for the Rumble, I'm picking Ronda Rousey now.
Yeah.
And I would rather see Ronda and Becky in that match. The thing I could see is another finish where Asuka technically wins but doesn't win the belt. And that's where I'm kind of in between on.
Maybe Becky will end up pinning Ronda again for the big 1-2.
Yeah, seriously.
I have to make an official pick, and if I have to make an official pick, I think Asuka's going to win screwy, and I think Becky is going to win clean at the next one. Do you know what I mean? Like so Asuka wins with a DQ or a count out or some or like the finish they did with Randy Orton and AJ the other and where there was just nobody the bell never rang at the end.
Right.
Something's going to happen there, but Becky walks out with the championship, Asuka walks out with the victory.
If this was New Japan Pro Wrestling, Asuka would win, not just because she's Japanese, but because they would keep the she can't beat Asuka storyline going for a
so good.
bigger payoff later, like they did with Naito, where he just couldn't win the world title, and now he's Naito 2 belts, ironically enough.
If anything better was happening with the SmackDown women's title,
Yeah.
I would say that's great. But I think you need to keep Becky in there.
Yeah.
Going into Mania. I don't think there's if Charlotte wins the Rumble, she's going to face Asuka, she's going to face Bayley. I don't know, it feels weaker that way. I'll say Becky keeps the title but Asuka wins.
I'm picking Becky Lynch. Tony?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Asuka. Victorious.
Maddie?
Becky Lynch. She's gonna
Josh?
get it this time.
Becky, I think Oscar will try to do the green spit shit,
the mist.
and miss, and completely miss it, and
She'll miss the mist.
yeah.
She'll get the ref.
Oh,
And then Becky will
yeah.
she'll get the ref and probably put her in Becky in some submission where Becky would tap, but the ref wasn't there to see it, and the next thing you know, disarm her.
They'll have a rematch at Elimination Chamber, and Becky will beat her definitively.
Yeah, I like that idea. Hit the ref with the mist. That's a tough one to pick, man.
All right. We'll treat this as the main event, so we'll pick times for it. The Fiend defends his Universal title against Daniel Bryan, who I loved that segment from last week on SmackDown, where Kane made his return and started talking about the Rumble, gets approached by the Fiend, backs off, Fiend sort of taunting him as though Kane is scared of him, but it was all a setup for Daniel Bryan to jump the Fiend. And, we get our more intense American Dragon version of Daniel Bryan for the last couple weeks, which has been awesome. He even cut a couple of Fiend's dreadlocks off in revenge for his hair being cut.
My problem is that Daniel Bryan in a goddamn flannel shirt doesn't look like he belongs in the ring with somebody in an actual costume.
Sure.
He's I want to see him wear that style, but a customized version, so he looks like he does look like he just showed up.
Yeah.
That's a weird one to me. I think it's the Fiend in 17 minutes. I think it's gonna be a great match. I think Daniel Bryan's gonna look good. I think everyone's gonna look good. But if somebody could beat the Fiend, I think Daniel Bryan's a great person to put in that position. But it's nowhere near the time.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna see Kane and Fiend in Saudi Arabia, and then we're gonna see the Fiend in a major main event at WrestleMania.
So what's your pick, Evan?
So the Fiend wins in 17 minutes.
I think Vince McMahon loves. He's been quoted as saying he loves the Mighty Mouse character, but he loves.
But just not Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, he loves the superhero more, and it's gonna take a Cena, a Roman Reigns.
But also, there's no reason the Fiend loses the belt. Again, this is also that one weird one where he could get a disqualification. I think they'll stay away from weird finishes after that Hell in a Cell thing. So I don't think you're going to see the Fiend get disqualified or anything. So I think it's a good match. Yeah. 17 minutes. It'll either be in red light or not. That'll be fun to be there and find out. But the Fiend wins this and keeps his title. And
imagine that Saudi Arabia match against Kane. You're not even able to fucking see anything.
They should just go all in and do an Inferno match. Fuck that.
Why not? I'm going with
because the Saudis will think that they actually have to set somebody up.
Right.
No, he's burning to death, right?
Cut his head off first.
Yeah, I'm going with the Fiend in 19 minutes.
Ooh. Fiend 20.
All right.
Wow.
You guys remember there's 2 Royal Rumble matches.
2 hour-long Rumble matches.
I'm going to go with the Fiend in 10 minutes.
Josh?
I'm going short match, Fiend in 12.
All right.
You know what? I'm going to change mine. I'm going to go Fiend in 1 minute.
There you go.
Oh, I would love to. How badass is that?
Well, he's doing the $1
Yeah.
thing.
Also, by the way, so Johnny sent me his picks. Johnny also has the Fiend. I don't know what time yet.
Yeah.
He also has Becky Lynch,
Yep.
Baron Corbin,
Yeah, of course he does.
Sheamus,
Yeah.
and Lacey Evans.
Right. Women's Royal Rumble.
Ronda Rousey.
Ronda Rousey.
I'm gonna swing big on this one. I think it's if she's coming back, if it's ever gonna happen, if there's ever the thing you're setting up, like this is the way, and I'm gonna swing for the fence on the dream of Ronda Rousey shows up.
Yeah.
I don't want her to be number 30. I want her to have some time in there, but after number 20, she comes out, huge pop. It's real. She looks good, and she wins that Royal Rumble. What a great that's a name to put on as a Royal Rumble winner too.
Sure.
And you know how they love to build accolades for people, right? Give them
and that's what makes this match hard for me, because this is one of those matches where I feel like it happens to me a lot where I'm like, well, this is what they should logically do, and it makes the most sense to do this, and then Charlotte wins. Like it has happened so many times in the women's division where you think something else is gonna. Great example, Asuka. Keep the undefeated streak alive. She defeats Charlotte. Nope, Charlotte wins. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, and so there's something in me that's saying Charlotte wasn't in the first one. Remember?
Wasn't she?
I don't think so.
Oh no.
Because I think she was the champion at the time. And so she
Who
wasn't
won
in the first.
Asuka won the
Asuka
first
won
one
it.
and faced Charlotte for the belt at WrestleMania. I don't
And then
know if
lost.
she was in it or not.
Yeah.
I thought she was at least in it.
No. When she was a champion, she definitely wasn't in it.
Look, I think the other side of it is my obvious number 2 would be Charlotte. I think Charlotte should be a multi-time Royal Rumble winner when it's all said and done. I think
she will be.
should have won last year.
And she will be.
But I think I'm still gonna my pick is still gonna be Ronda Rousey because I'm swinging for the Grand Slam home run on this one.
It's the right thing to do. It's the right story. Because
Don't overthink it.
You have to clean up last year.
Then don't overthink it.
I know, but fuck.
The only way Ronda Rousey doesn't win the Rumble is if she's done with wrestling. Otherwise, there's no better comeback for her. Because if she is coming back for WrestleMania and you just trot her out on Raw or SmackDown, if you just bring her out at another pay-per-view, like there is no better entrance.
Yeah.
This is it. This is the moment. Like if she's ever coming back, it's this Sunday. And if she doesn't, I'll tell Vince to his face, I'm like, I just think you missed the chance, man. I'll say it just as mealy-mouthed as that. But
because we never got that either. Because if you remember, Ronda debuted at the First Ladies Royal Rumble.
yeah.
She came out and got face-to-face with Asuka and just pointed at the WrestleMania sign. Nothing happened between the two of them. There could be an argument that you do something with Ronda and Asuka, but
That's her tune-up match.
Yeah.
That's why, like that. But
yeah, I Ronda Rousey. Matt?
Yep.
Stephanie McMahon Helmsley.
And I
Hilarious.
thought I was swinging. I love this pick. I almost want you to be right more than me.
Josh?
And you know what? I'm also going to switch to Humberto Carrillo.
Oh, my goodness.
What?
Yep.
He's trying to win championships.
He really is.
Yep.
Look, that's I'll strategize too sometimes when I hear what you guys say. I'm like, oh, I got to pick. Josh, what do you say?
Joshua?
It can only be one woman,
Yes.
and she's coming from NXT. It will be Shayna Baszler
Holy,
because Shayna Baszler versus Becky. I'm sorry, Bailey.
Yeah.
You can lose. You can get rid of the title off of Bailey. Give it a fucking Shayna Baszler, and Rousey can return. Rousey will be with Shayna Baszler as champion. You keep Baszler fucking strong.
I agree
then she
with you,
cannot
Josh.
lose.
I'm changing.
fucking
I'm changing to Shayna
Whoa,
Baszler.
Chris is changing.
I think you're right. I think he's right.
Wow.
I totally forgot that Shayna lost her NXT title, and she's sort of in this number one contenders match thing that's getting ready to happen. But this is the perfect time to move her to the main roster. Perfect way to debut her.
And that's why you keep the
perfect
belt
way to make her
on
strong.
Becky Lynch.
And then if she doesn't
Oh, not Becky, Bayley.
succeed, it's the perfect way to bring Rousey back because then that starts the whole horsewomen shit. Yeah, I think it's got to be Shayna Baszler. I think you're right on the money, Josh.
I think it's a great pick. I just don't think it's the right way and the right time.
And that's why I will be champion.
To
after
take it
all
one
of this.
step further, that's exactly who I think Stephanie's going to eliminate last. Absolutely. Just generate
I want
that
to see
heat.
that
I think
just so
Josh
we
is
can
so
turn
right.
and shit on Josh for
And
his
I think
pick.
she should come out to her dad's music, too.
Yeah.
Men's Royal Rumble match. Who you got, Eddie?
This is it. It
This
all
is-
boils down to this.
Who's Johnny got?
Fuck.
He has Brock Lesnar.
Okay.
Oh.
Look, it's
I don't think-
hard
And
because
also
that's
he has
my
Rousey
that's
in
my
the
heart
roster.
pick. That's obviously my heart pick.
Yeah.
You're going with Bret Hart?
Yeah, Bret Hart. Owen Hart's going to win.
Owen Hart with the run in.
No one goes over the top.
The fall It's Brock Lesnar.
Wow.
It's Brock Lesnar.
The Beast
It's
incarnate.
it's Brock Lesnar.
No.
For 100 reasons, it's Brock Lesnar.
All right. There we go. What's your pick?
Matt, who you got? What
No,
are you
you
watching
go,
over there?
You go, dude.
What the hell are you watching?
That's the video that I told you about.
He's
That's
watching
the
Matt
slow motion.
Hardy.
It's
You can see
Jeff
it.
Hardy.
oh,
videos.
it's so fucking.
I can't look.
It's
away.
incredible and it's so hard to watch. This is this slow motion
This
UFC.
is terrible podcast.
Yeah. What do you
YouTube
think?
video.
I
But
acknowledge
you guys are.
it.
I mean, okay. So I would go.
Because now the kids are gonna go and look it up and watch it themselves and agree that it's a really great video.
For sure.
Yeah.
Maddie, who you got?
I'd have to say, my heart is in Punk.
That dude is not
He's
coming
not
back.
winning it though. He's not winning it.
But
He's
Are you
not coming back
I
in
can
this
see
Rumble.
it.
Matt's
I
about
almost wish we could get extra points for saying he's not going to be in this match.
he might be in
Um,
the match.
I think Edge is going to be in the match. I don't think fucking Punk is.
Na-na-na.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just,
Tony's
I'm
gonna
gonna go.
boo him.
I'm gonna go.
Jeff Hardy.
No, I don't think
Just
he'll
go
ever.
Jeff
I don't
Hardy.
think he'll ever wrestle in WWE again.
Matt Hardy probably not.
Not as far as winning.
Matt Hardy has said he's pretty much done.
Oh, he's out.
yeah,
They're all out.
He might be the leader of the Dark Order apparently.
Ooh. So I'd give it to Brock. I just think it's weird that he's going up front. I don't know.
I'm interested in your opinion, Tony, but
But
Here we
honestly,
go. You ready?
You get me
I gotta
with.
wait for
You
Matt
get
to
me
be
with
done.
whoever.
Whoever
You get me with
Tony says is actually winning it.
Cena's interesting and Kofi's very interesting.
okay. Do you want me to go or do you want to go?
You can go ahead.
Wait. Let me address this with Matt. Both of those are completely right. What I'm going to say isn't going to sound right, but it is right. Brock needs it more than them. This is the kind of career-building, defining moment for him. No one in the world thinks he can go 60 minutes in this match. Legit, like literally, actually performing for 60 minutes. You're putting him in a Ric Flair-esque spot to actually have to do the thing no one thinks he can. When he pulls that off, he transcends to a completely different level. This is the Brock Lesnar match we all want to see, and he goes from 1 to 60. He wins the thing. That's what Kofi and Cena can get to the title any other way. Brock winning it and then something happening is the way to go.
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar's daughter is my second pick. The Women's Royal Rumble.
That's not a bad idea.
Here's the problem.
The yeast incarnate.
Brock Lesnar. No, I don't. To me, Brock Lesnar just is Brock Lesnar. He's Andre the Giant. There's no ceiling. There's no cellar. He just is.
He is his legacy.
Yeah, there is no. We're gonna make him even bigger. We're gonna make him even small. He just is. He's Brock Lesnar. Like you've noticed that every time he loses, he never loses any heat. He never loses any legitimacy. He's never less scary. He's always Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, but when he won that Money in the Bank, that also was a big moment. I was like, oh shit! Like,
but that's
here he
'cause
is just fucking
But
dominating.
that's what I'm saying. He come off of a title loss. He doesn't participate in the match. He literally just walks in and climbs the ladder. It's like he loses and gains nothing all the time. And this is a prime opportunity. Like no matter who it is, if someone throws him over the top rope, that's an unbelievable rub for that person. Like Brock, I sort of agree with Jim Ross and Jim Cornette that I felt like we thought Brock beating the Undertaker streak was about to make him bigger, but it didn't. He just is. You know what I mean?
I disagree with that.
I don't think it made him bigger at all. And then
I disagree
we
with
saw
that.
what happened with the Undertaker afterwards, and it's all been less exciting because the streak was gone.
I disagree. I think that defeating the streak was a big moment. It
was a moment for the night, I feel like, but afterwards it's like, oh yeah, that happened.
We talk about that the way we talk about Shawn ending Ric Flair's career.
I definitely don't. But either way, you can build somebody pretty big by having them eliminate Brock in this situation, because it does a couple things. Not only are they making Brock
who do you got?
Bad for a second, but also it makes the first time that Paul Heyman's spoiler comment is wrong. But I don't know who's going to eliminate Brock, but I still feel like they're going to pull the trigger on Roman Reigns, because I think
you think Roman Reigns.
I think you said it. I don't think that their imagination goes far enough to say, what else do you do with Roman? They're going to put him up against the Fiend. It is what it is. It's what I think that's where this whole thing has been going. No. They hear the cheers for him. They're like, oh shit, they're not going to boo him like they did last time. I think that's what they think. And I think that that's what they want. I really think that's what they want.
I think you keep Roman and Bray as far apart as possible. There's no reason.
I'm not saying it's a decision I'm not saying it's a decision I would make.
You're killing both of them in that instance. You do no one any favors by putting them against each other.
I 100% agree with you, Eddie Firth. I don't think Brock and the Fiend should go up against each other at this point. You know what I mean? I think there's a more interesting story to be built other than Brock wins the Rumble and then fights the Fiend. But, so it's the same kind of catch-22 in my opinion. But I see logically how it's like, oh, well, who's the biggest guy we got? And so if it's not John Cena, it's got to be Roman. I think that's as simple as they're thinking about it.
I know who you're gonna say now. Tony.
Josh, what do you
now
think?
I know.
I'm gonna
what
let
Tony's
Tony
gonna
go
say.
last.
I've been saying it for multiple weeks.
Yes.
I will keep my same pick
So whatever he says now, you know who is losing.
because it will be him versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. Drew McIntyre.
Oh, that's right. You did pick
Fucking Drew McIntyre. I've been calling it for weeks. You have to use the Rumble to fucking elevate a guy into a WrestleMania picture. And Drew
When's
McIntyre
the last time
is
that
the
they did that?
fucking guy.
Randy Orton, 2 years ago.
Oof,
Roman
that was a tough
Reigns.
win.
No,
Randy won.
It was that time Ric Flair won the belt in
Yeah.
1992 and really elevated his career
They,
to a
but
new
they
level.
elevated Shinsuke into that main title picture. when
How'd that
he
go
won
for
it.
him?
It
How'd
didn't
that
go.
go
It
for
didn't
him?
go well for him, but it still elevated him to that
Yeah.
picture. And Drew McIntyre is
Look,
ready for that push.
It's a ballsy pick. He's in a few short weeks, he's really gotten that countdown, the Claymore kick thing over. The fans really love it when he does it. So
Josh, you think they look at Drew McIntyre any different than they look at Sheamus at the moment? Just a big European guy that can kick some butt and then do.
a completely different. guy.
You think they look at him differently?
Yes.
Okay.
yeah,
I'm sorry to hear that. Have you had your prescription
I
checked
I think
recently?
they Drew McIntyre like fucking Vince looks at Baron Corbin
yeah.
and Braun Strowman and all of those big guys.
That's
I
how he looks
believe
at
that's-
Drew.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And none of those guys are winning the Rumble, so I don't understand what your point is.
I mean, look, he's
It's multiple. There's two different ways. It's weird. I don't know. Like part of me thinks it'll be a SmackDown wrestler because I think it's a better way to set up the Fiend
yeah.
in the next one. But do you just say fuck it and have Elimination Chamber set up the Fiend WrestleMania match and use this Rumble to set the Raw match?
I want to hear
So-
Tony because whoever he says is actually winning.
Yeah. So
I
there
will
it is.
agree with Tony.
So
I'm not
here we
changing my
go.
pick, though.
What you got?
You know, one of the main philosophical differences I think that I have with a few people on this show is that I like to give WWE the benefit of the doubt. I like, this way, 2 hot weeks of Raw in the bag and all this, you know what I mean? I like to think that's how it should be. That's how it really goes when it's not over clustered up in this and that. So, here's what I think is going to happen. I think that Brock dominates early on. I think he has some challenges in the middle. And I think when the smoke clears, I think maybe Undertaker comes out 23, 24, something like that. I think it builds up again. And when the smoke clears before number 30 comes out, I think it's just Brock standing in the middle of that ring. Paul Heyman going ballistic. The crowd chanting same old shit. And then we count down to 30 because the WWE needs press coming into this year. They need a bang. And when that countdown hits 0, I think we're going to have our first great 30 in a long time. When you hear, if you smell what The Rock is cooking. I think the one making the comeback here is The Rock. I think the crowd's heads fucking explode for easy breezy movie promotions for The Rock. I think I know for a fact he's in some of the best shape of his life right now.
Yep.
And it's believable. He can do it, and he eliminates Brock. He doesn't need to show a lot of face leading into it. He's a special guy. He'll make special appearances. It'll skyrocket the numbers. Everybody will get their money's worth. They'll pay him out of the wazoo. He'll make them viewers and money. It's a feeding frenzy. This is what relationships like this are built for. This is why Vince lets these guys go and do what they want and treats them good and this and that. This is what working synergy is all about. And this will be reported across SportsCenter, just like what they did last year with Ronda or the year before that or whatever. This is an easy way to change the entire dynamic of 2020. And this is 2020. You got to look at it from Vince's perspective. What do we do to take this to another level? And that's what you do. You make it look like Brock's going to win this goddamn thing, and then you hit everybody from the farthest left field that nobody's thinking about. The Rock.
This is your issue with that is Brock is on Raw. And if you're going to use The Rock, you need to elevate those SmackDown numbers.
You're thinking way too small.
Yeah, there's
you're thinking
no-
way too like
that is
nobody's
nothing
gonna care if The Rock is showing up. Fox is like, if he wants to show up on Monday and Friday, we're fine. It doesn't matter.
No,
Just
but
put him anywhere.
I'm saying SmackDown is the A show.
Yeah. And
Why
so
would
the-
you? Why would you do something to elevate the numbers on the B show?
The
when
Rock
it's
was
Because
the
he'll
A
show
show
up
the
on
show-
both. If there's anybody in the world who's going to break the rule, if this is really
Yeah.
going to happen, if The Rock shows up, this is where we're all going to be like, oh,
So-
well, I guess it doesn't matter that there's two separate shows anymore, because there won't, because he'll show up on both of them in the prep. Like, it won't matter. It doesn't.
That literally doesn't matter.
It won't.
at
That
all.
if you think that is what's going to stop them from this thing going through, if they're really close and they're like, well, wait a minute, we can't have him face Brock because that's on Monday, and we need to elevate the Friday show. That's not why they're scrapping it. They'll be like, well, we can have him show up on both.
The
Don't
Rock
worry.
literally already showed up on SmackDown.
And he
So-
can show up on Raw,
Yeah.
and they can play video packages when he's not there for both. Like, if he shows up, he'll be on both shows. He'll show up on a live Friday night, and it won't matter that he's facing the guy on Raw. He'll just make an appearance.
It's been 2 months since he was there.
I
3.
usually when you go on these flights of fancy, I'm the main one that's just like, you're a ridiculous human being, and there's zero chance of that happening.
And that's how I
But-
feel.
However, I can't forget months ago there was dirt sheet talk of WWE wanting to do one of two things: Rock versus Brock,
Have to do it.
or
This is the show.
Rock versus Roman Reigns.
Those are two great matches.
Interesting.
Two big time matches. You got cousin versus cousin, or of course you got Rock versus Brock. And it's Roman, it's almost more interesting now that the Usos are in the mix with Roman, because now it's a whole family situation.
They
if you
break
bring
up
Rock
and
in
one
that
goes in each
situation. Yeah. One twin goes with one guy. So that's not that crazy.
Yeah.
Not that crazy at all, my friend.
I think that's
Because
what's gonna
now
happen.
what you've done is planted a mental grenade in my mind.
Right.
Because now that answers the question for me. Well, if it ain't Roman, who does Roman fight at WrestleMania? Could be the fucking Rock.
Right. I think
God
The Rock's
damn
definitely
it.
going to be at WrestleMania this year.
I think so,
I'm
too.
trying to figure out how do they get him there, and why not? Why not have him come out maybe 30, maybe 29, but it should be 30 because you know what they've done over all these years is they made 30 this rinky-dink like disappointing thing, and I think they've been doing it for a reason.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a storyline. It's not accident. It's not Vince's rule. 30 has to suck. No,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
30 has to suck for a reason. So that there's this thing implanted in our head now
Yeah.
to where it's like, oh, it's probably going to be nothing. It's never who we hope for. And the fucking, I mean, just literally us grabbing, oh my God.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what it should
But I'm
be.
just like looking at that Mania card. It's like if it was say if it was like John Cena versus The Fiend, Rock versus Roman, fucking, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ronda versus Becky. Like that's a big card.
Yeah.
That's
That's
a
what
big
they need.
Fucking card.
It's what they need. They have competition right now, supposedly, sort of. they need a death blow.
Whew. I've never wanted you to be right.
right.
But I want you to be right. I
I'm
do
gonna
want
be
you to
right.
be right. But
Forget about Drew McIntyre. They're gonna get Draw McIntyre. They're gonna get someone that can get numbers to the product,
But
and this is a steroid shot. We know
I
WWE
fucking-
loves those.
I love it. I love it. And yeah, this is a Rumble I've been more excited about. Definitely more than last year. Can't wait to see what happens. Sucks a little bit that, I mean, you know, the original reports were that it was going to be like 10 SmackDown, 10 Raw, 10 NXT, but they've already got over 14 guys from Raw already announced. So, and they have not really talked about the Rumble at all on NXT TV. So who knows what's going to happen there. But we'll fucking see. And I'm stoked about it, to quote my man, the Woken One here.
Stoked.
Shit, we'll be there live in a living color. Can't wait. If you want to get at us, you know what I mean, hit us on one of the socials. Tell us where you're going to be.
Don't come say hi to me. Don't bother me.
Don't talk to Eddie.
You ain't missing much.
For sure. But it's going down Sunday in motherfucking Houston. What else is going on with you, Tony Hinchcliffe?
It's all happening, people. This is it. The big hurrah. not only do we have Kill Tony's just been fucking unbelievable lately. Absolute fire capacity main room. It's insanity. Still a couple tickets left for my 4 shows in Calgary this weekend. If anybody, I doubt that anybody's listening from there. Tempe is coming up in 2 weeks. That's a big ass fucking club and smack dab in the middle of Arizona. Not easy to fill 5 times, 5 shows in Tempe. Kill Tony goes to Vancouver at JFL Northwest doing a 1,300-seat theater. That's almost sold out. Going to Venus de Milo in between Providence and Boston for Kill Tony East, the second annual Kill Tony East. 5 stand-up shows in La Jolla, 2 Kill Tonys the first weekend of March. That's a big one if you live near San Diego at all. Just signed on to do Tacoma Comedy Club again. 4 stand-up shows, 1 Kill Tony there. Skankfest at the end of March. Boston, Massachusetts, 5 stand-up shows, 1 Kill Tony. Gonna take a weekend off in New York after that. And then the Moon Tower Comedy Festival in beautiful Austin, Texas, the last weekend of April. Don't be a fool in April.
Shout out to my girl, Maggie Hoffman.
Hey now. TonyHinchcliffe.com for tickets. And come see Kill Tony if you're near the Southern California area on Monday nights. Big
Edgar.
Guests coming up.
Dig it, sucker. 26th. You know, guys, if you're not going to be in Houston, I will be in Vegas doing shows. I got 2 shows at the LA Comedy Club on the evening of Royal Rumble on the 26th. Next week, the 28th, I'm in Laguna Beach. Go to my Instagram to find out the venue and the times. On the 30th, Ventura Harbor Comedy Club, and 14th Valentine's Day show at the Improv. That's me, Jeff Garland, Rachel Wolfson. So come out to any of them.
Eddie.
Wednesday night, next week, Wednesday night, January 29th at 10:30 p.m. in the Belly Room. It's Historical Rose, Dead Presidents. Incredible lineup. Brad Williams, Brian Moses, Andrew Michon. Incredible comedians. Come out and check that out next Wednesday night, January 29th.
Josh?
Josh Martin Comic on Twitter and Instagram. In the middle of February, I'll be over Wisconsin, Madison, Wisconsin, Green Bay, Milwaukee with Pauly Shore.
Nice. Follow me on Instagram at Chris_please. I always got something going on. Follow us at Store Horsemen on all the things. And never forget, the Store Horsemen are your hookup. Holla if you hear us.